everybody.
Gotta start our video off the right way.
That's right.
God is damn lipstick.
Good.
We always want you guys to get this energy of love.
That's right.
And we want to send that energy to you as well.
Yes.
So we're wishing you all peace, abundance, and happiness. We're hoping you're paying attention to these times. We got a really good video today.
Yeah.
So this video is going to have a couple of different lessons in it. One lesson is about the stone. So this video is about us doing our deck and laying our, what's it called?
Flagstone.
Flagstone. So we laid this flagstone.
How can we forget that time?
I ain't lying. I needed to wave a flag, a surrender flag. Because that flagstone,
it's been a project.
It was a project. It took a little bit longer, so we jumped on that. So as we stated in earlier videos, we're trying to get our outside wrapped up. All right, that's the plan, is to get the outside done and get the outside, comfortable. So as we're in our home, it feels more homey. So that's the project. We got a couple more outside projects, but I'm not going to spoil those today. You'll see those next, but they're going to be sweet. So laying the flagstone. So, Beth, your 2 cents. What did you find as your lessons in the flagstone? I'm going to let you go first and I'll do mine.
Well, one thing is, as much as I like it, I never want to do it again. It was a bit much, right? We've been at this for a little over a month now.
It was boom, boom, boom.
No, it wasn't.
It was like a couple of days. No, it was about a month.
Yeah, it took a lot longer than what I anticipated, which is, I guess, most of our projects.
Yeah.
But
every project.
Yeah, I know. It did take longer than we anticipated. And part of the reason, which I speak to in the video, is because we purchased our stones like 3 years ago. And when we did it, we calculated the square footage of our deck and purchased the amount that we thought was going to cover the deck, but
which is a 16 by 20 deck.
Yeah, but we fell short by a lot.
By a lot. Yeah. And then when we bought it, it was a one-of-a-kind stone.
Yeah, it's not a beige. It's not a color that most of the quarries or the landscaping companies have. So we went back to the place where we purchased it from, and they didn't have it. And we went to one place, and they had it very close. It was very identical. So, and that's the hard part. If my advice, if you're going to lay flagstone, because flagstones come in different shapes and sizes, you can't, it's not like a 12 by 12 and you can do a whole measurement of the area and get the exact amount of pieces. Because they vary, it's hard to kind of determine exactly how many you're going to need to cover your area. So that's the situation we ran into. And we had to go back to the landscaping company twice. We thought we bought enough the first time, and we fell short and had to go back again. So yeah, it's been a project. I'm glad it's over. I'm happy with it, but I'm glad we're done finally.
But the universe has its way, because it was a blessing. I mean, it was an abundance in disguise.
It was.
So when we went back, we had already bought all this grout. So we sitting up here racking our brains. I'm calling one of my boys that do construction work, trying to how the hell am I going to grout this? Like, it's about to be a grout hell. You know what I'm saying? So luckily, the second time we went back, we ended up finding that they had a sand mix for flagstone, that you could just sweep it in the joints and then just spray it. And that helped. It is still, we had to clean it a couple of times with the power washer, but that was much better than being on my hands and knees and having to hand grout it.
Yeah.
So it ended up being an abundance in disguise blessing, abundance in disguise, benefit. So that was one good thing. One thing I'm going to say in my lesson is, whatever, if you're not a cat that's out here doing this kind of work, you know, like me, I sat my ass in the office, right? Yeah, I went to the gym when I was back home and stuff like that. But, you know, if you're going to move off grid and really take this serious, I can't stress enough, man. You and your wife or whoever, you know, make sure you guys do some working out. Really, especially if you're older or you're getting older. You know, I was on my hands and knees, which you're going to see, for basically the whole month, you know. And them stones was heavy.
They are.
You know, I'm going to tell you that
heavy.
the lightest one was probably about 30 pounds.
Yeah. Some of it took both of us
Yeah,
to
some of them was about 200 pounds.
Right. Yeah, they were very heavy.
And we had to lift them babies, and it was just me and her. And, you know, and then she had to mix all the mortar. So another thing,
That's hard.
yeah, if you lay sand, flagstone, don't lay it just in sand.
No.
It's going to sink.
Yeah.
That stuff is too heavy. When it rains, that rain is going to hit that sand. Water's going to get in there some way, somehow. So, in my 2 cents opinion, anybody wanting to do flagstone, pour a cement slab or pour a cement walkway or whatever. And it might be a double task.
Right.
But if you want that flagstone look, it's what you're going to have to do if you want it to survive.
Right.
Because if you just try to put it in sand and think you're going to, you know, vibrate that crushed rock in there and it's going to sit, no. Because it's too hard to level it. You know, the things got crevices and things on the bottom or whichever way, and you're trying to pound that and crush sand and crush rock, it ain't gonna work. So we had to do it in mortar, and it worked.
Yeah,
so
it did.
Luckily, we had been doing quite a bit of working out before we took on the sandstone project, and that it really helped.
It did.
It helped a lot. Like, ooh. One thing you're going to see is my Morris star. Okay. Love, peace, wisdom, truth. No. Love, peace, truth, wisdom, and freedom. Okay. So hopefully my wife edits that. So I sound like I said that right. But you're going to see our Morris star that we put. And as you're seeing, we're putting different emblems in front of our projects. Like when we did the meditation station, we put our yin and yang. I want to drop this clue out there to you guys. For those of you who don't know and who are not been introduced to the concept of finding out the history of being a Moor, or the treaty between the United States Corporation, the United States of Republic, with the Moorish identification, which is all the Americas, for those of you who don't know. North America, South America, Middle America are all considered Moroccan territories. Go research it. I'm going to stop with that there. I'll save that for another project. So those of you who don't know, all right, we just printed this Supreme Court court case that was filed in 2020. I highly suggest for anybody that you hit pause right now, take a picture of this, go Google it, find it on the internet. It's pretty thick, but there's some stuff you need to know that I'm finding out that I didn't know. So as I'm finding out, I decided to, you know, make my identification of my Moorish heritage. Thus, you'll see the Moor symbol in our deck. I surprised my wife with that one. So she doesn't see that one coming. So, kind of like the yin and yang. So we're trying to present things in our reality.
Yep.
Yeah, in our reality, in our universe that reflect our belief system and things that we think, so that some of the things, well, some of you watching the channel, you can start kind of reading into some of the things we think without us having to say everything. Because we won't want YouTube to flag it. So, because they will. Right. So, but definitely, again, this is a Supreme Court court case. Go look it up. You can see it was just filed in 2020. Um, you really need to read it and find out more about the Moors and your Moorish background. And the more you know, the better off you're going to be. Okay. So that's my 2 cents on that. Anything else about the deck? Talked about the square footage issue. Oh, when you buy the stone, you got to overbuy.
Yeah.
Overbuy.
Yeah.
Whatever square footage you come up with, buy that and a half. Because we ended up buying.
What, 3 or 4 pallets altogether?
Well, we ended up buying 2 tons. They sell about a ton, which is supposed to be a square footage concept. But when you buy it, it's sold by weight. It's not really sold by square footage. So when they package it under this concept of it will function this much square footage, but it doesn't. So our original purchase was 2 tons or 1 ton, about 2,000 pounds, and then we went back and bought 900 pounds. Then we went back again and bought about 500 pounds, and we got about 5 stones left over that we didn't use.
Right.
So if you do Flagstone, plan on buying whatever it is you calculate plus another half. That way you can ensure your stone is congruent. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to get into a deeper lesson now. We threw the Moorish thing on your plate. That's up for you to go look. But now we're going to put something on your plate that you're dealing with every day and you're completely clueless. And we just feel obligated in our consciousness, and we feel obligated to communicate this out to you. Because it just needs to be said. Because a lot of you just don't know. A lot of you just don't have time to look. So we said a little while when we got back that this channel was going to get a little deeper than just the build. So this is one of those. We're about to go deep. We're going deep, baby. This is about to be one of them deep times. So we're going to talk to you about something called GWEN. GWEN, which stands for Ground Wave Emergency Network. Now, simply put, GWEN are your 5G towers. Okay. So you see these 5G towers out here all over the place, and my wife is going to show you one. These 5G towers are everywhere. I challenge one of you watching this video to leave a message where you ever seen them put one up. You see them everywhere. They're even starting to camouflage them. My wife will put one up of those. They're starting to camouflage them. But GWEN and 5G are the exact same thing. So I'm going to read to you, which my wife will have a link, but I'm going to just show you. This is Wikipedia's definition of what GWEN is. And once I read this, you got to ask yourself some real serious questions. The Ground Wave Emergency Network, GWEN, was a command and control communication system intended for use by the United States government to facilitate military communications before, during, and after a nuclear war. Specifically, the GWEN network was intended to survive the effects of an electromagnetic pulse from a high-altitude nuclear explosion and ensure that the United States President or their survivors could issue a launch or strategic air command bombers by radio. Okay, that's cool. Why the hell are they in the neighborhoods? Well, they told you they're 5G towers, but they're all over your streets. So, do they know about a war that's already planning? But it still doesn't make sense of them being in your neighborhoods. So, either Wikipedia is full of shit, or there's another answer of why they're all up and down. I don't care what city we're talking about. I have to use Detroit because that's the only city I can reference.
Outside of Albuquerque.
Outside of Albuquerque.
But Detroit has way more.
Yeah. I here go that damn clock. Sorry.
My clock alarm.
We always say we're going to pay attention to the time. We do this every damn time. But even Albuquerque, they hide them. And they're everywhere. So again, either this answer, and Google it. Google Wikipedia yourself and read it. Don't just, take my word for nothing. I'm just trying to present to you the concept. I want you to go look for yourself. I printed something from the Seattle Times, which my wife will show you some videos, I'm sure. I just want you to see them. Where they hide them in the trees. Her video will probably be better than this. I'm going to let my wife give you a understanding of what the truth is about.
So, I ran across something that identified the 5G towers, what we know or understand as 5G towers pertaining to our cell phone services, right? But it was labeled as GWEN, which I never heard of. And there is a patent number for the GWEN Tower system. And that patent number is US 535-6368A, letter A. And I'm going to read you what it states under the patent for this GWEN Tower, 5G Tower, whichever one you want to call it. So it says that this tower is improved methods and apparatus for entraining human brain patterns, employing frequency following response FFR techniques, facilitate attainment of desired states of consciousness. In one embodiment, a plurality of electroencephalogram EEG waveforms characteristic of a given state of consciousness are combined to yield an EEG waveform to which subjects may be susceptible more readily. In another embodiment, sleep patterns are reproduced based on observed brain patterns during portions of sleep cycle. Entrainment principles are applied to induce sleep. In yet another embodiment, entrainment principles are applied in the work environment to induce and maintain a desired level of consciousness. So in breaking that down, what it's saying is that those towers were created to influence and manipulate our state of consciousness. And this was filed in March of 1991, and the patent was approved in October 18th of 1994. I'm going to put a link below so you guys can research this yourself. Mm-hmm. Now, again, this was approved in 1994. The towers went up around 2019-2020 was the time of deployment of the 5G towers. And we were told that it was an improvement of our cellular phone service or our internet service. But yet, under the patent, it states plain as day that it is to manipulate our state of consciousness. Mm-hmm. Now, I can say, people can believe what they want to believe. You research on your own. But I can say that one time my husband and I stayed at a hotel over the weekend, and I thought I was getting a sinus infection, and I started with a migraine, and I don't have migraines. I started having a migraine, and the next day he started having a migraine. And for 3 days, we had a migraine from the time we woke up to from the time we went to bed, woke back up with it. I mean, we were taking all kind of Motrin, Tylenol, nothing worked. And I just felt awful, such a bad headache. And finally, it went away. We came back home and we stayed on our property. And it finally went away. And the next time we went in town, I was like, let's go around that hotel. And sure as shit, It was a 5G tower right behind the hotel where you couldn't see it when you pulled up to the hotel. And anyone that knows, those towers are at very low level, which I find it very hard to believe that they are for cellular service or internet service, because in my opinion, it wouldn't be so low to where buildings can block the waveforms or the, what is
Goes
it
against
called?
line of sight.
Yeah.
So
it
if you
would
know
be a
anything about line of
interference.
sight, it would be an interference with line of sight of a
Exactly.
radio frequency communication.
Exactly. So, I'm just, putting that out there because, people need to know what's going on. Part of your identification and trying to figure out what you're doing, those people that are interested in moving off grid or whatever it is you're doing, you need to be aware of what's going on and the manipulation that's being brought out. And I'm also put a link because there are over 40 patents for mind control and mind manipulations and level of consciousness manipulations.
That's a very simple one.
devices.
Television.
Yeah.
It's called telling you a vision.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the things on television called? Programs. Because they're programming you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's a lot of things going on that so many of us are asleep to, that we just say, well, okay, B, well, what can I do? I mean, it doesn't affect me. It's not relevant. You know what? Yes, it does. Because it affects your children. It affects your grandchildren. Do you, and Google this and research this, do you guys know that all the private prisons are owned by the music industry? That fucked me up. I ain't gonna lie. When I found that out, I knew the private prisons were for profit, being controlled by, to some degree, the system and the system's manipulation of us. But to actually know that the prison systems, these private prisons, stopped being state run and are now owned. Look up Jay-Z. Jay-Z owns some stock in some of them. So when your kids are listening to this music, it's a form of mind control. And when you are running across stuff like this, it's a form of mind control. So for a person to have the thought process, oh, well, what can I do, B? Well, then, nothing. Let them control your ass. There's nothing for you to do. For the ones out there who wish to wake up, who wish to not be controlled, what you can do is you can start working on figuring out how to get out. Getting out, again, off grid, buying you some land, figuring out your path of how you choose to do it. It doesn't have to be as abrupt or as fixed as me and my wife chose to make ours. But I highly suggest, for those of you watching, beginning to catch on, you start figuring you out an exit plan for you and your family. Because I'm going to tell you now, this thing ain't going to do nothing but keep getting worse. You got Hawaii on fire today, right? Today was what, the 5th, 6th, something like that? I never
know what the day is.
We forget the days because we don't keep up with the day.
The 9th.
The 9th. I'm a week behind. It's the 9th?
Yeah.
It's the 9th. Hawaii's on fire. You know what I'm saying? We just had some storms whipped through down south yesterday. You got 11 inches of rain in Tennessee day before yesterday. Michigan, y'all about to get hit again next week. I don't know if this video will be up before y'all get hit, but y'all got a doozy coming y'all way. The East Coast just got hit again. So we've been talking about these storms again, not to keep beating the dead horse, but we've been telling you about these storms because they are lying to you of what's causing them. These storms are not being caused by any cow farts or any car engines or any emissions. No, that's a blatant lie. A 100% lie. Okay? You need to find out what is making these weather events occur. And I'll give you a clue. New Mexico was once underwater. There's no debate to that. New Mexico became a desert. There's no debate to that. Watch our videos and start noticing how green it's becoming. So there's a cycle that they're hiding from you. and you just don't know about this cycle. And because you don't know about this cycle, you don't comprehend how relevant it is to not be inside these inner cities when this thing really snaps, because it's going to snap like a rubber band. And part of what they're doing with this 5G and this GWEN has a lot to do with controlling that snap. You know, you see the banks closing right now. For those of you keeping up with the Fed now and the bank system, you know, at some point your brain got to start saying, okay, wait a minute. Do I really think shit's just going to stay normal? How far do you think you could stretch a rubber band before it breaks? And right now, our message to you guys is they're stretching the shit out this thing. And we're hoping by us doing these videos that we are trying to tap some people on the shoulder and wake them up to where they actually feel motivated to want to take responsibility for their own life and for their own future. We'll go back to that understanding for those of you who out there who want to understand. So, I'm going to stop there because I can keep going. And I don't want to go too much. My wife kicking me under the table right now. She's back. But we really hope you guys enjoyed the deck video. It was a lot of work. We worked our ass off.
We did.
My wife had to mix that mud and shovel it.
It was hot.
It was hot. At least we got to do it under the shade.
Right.
So, you know, that was the one good thing. But
Yeah.
she definitely worked her butt off. You know,
Yeah.
so I want to tell her thank you for all her help.
For sure.
So I guess I hope you guys enjoy the video.
Yeah.
Anything from you?
No.
You want to say?
No.
All right, look it up. The GWEN Towers, GWEN. We're
Do
going to
some
post
research.
links at the bottom of this. Look up
Right.
your Moorish history. Look up that court case. Start reading about what's going on in this world. And not just so much across the waters, but in your own land. You know, the land that was taken from you. Start reading about it and learning about it. So, till next time,
Be free.
be free. Peace. Everybody, all right, time for another video. We're getting it going. Woody woo. Woody hoo. So, what we're going to be doing is finishing up the deck.
Finally.
Finally. So, all this stone, you're going to watch me and my wife cut them, lift them. Average stone's probably about 50 to 80 pounds, 100 pounds, somewhere in there. But we're gonna lay all those, finish that up. After that, we'll show you that video, then we'll show you what we got planned next after that. So right now, we're gonna get it cleaned all off, get it ready,
So we can enjoy the summer.
so we can get it
On
ready
our
for the
deck.
summer, on our deck.
That's right.
Yeah. Then after that, we'll be putting the grass out.
Hey.
And then after that, we got some surprises. We'll let y'all watch and see those. For sure, y'all. When we do that video, it's gonna be like, this is how we do it. Till next time, peace. Be free. Hey everybody. Okay, so what we're gonna do is a quick little illustration of what we're doing, because we've seen some people do these decks out here, especially, and they use this flagstone and they shit sink, right? So some of these people out here got this odd belief that they could just put this stone on dirt and the stone will be okay. No, it won't, because once it rains, water will somehow get into that dirt will seep out, and boom, boom, boom. Eventually, these stones, because they weigh so heavy, they'll tilt, they'll crack, they'll break, blah.
So what we're doing is we're laying our bed of mortar down. So we already poured the cement slab. So that means there can be no sinking because we're pouring it on cement slab. Then we're using mortar. Now some people say you can use crush fines and stuff like that, and that's fine, you can. But in my opinion, I think the mortar gives you more wiggle room to level it out. So what we're doing right now is we put the front end and the back end. So we're starting in the middle now, and we're going to level out to where you come out this way. So we're leveling out like this. So as you're walking out the door, you're walking to a levelness, and then we're leveling out from this here to the front. So you're also level. So basically I'm kind of making a bridge, for lack of a better word. So I'm bridging my back to my front. So once I bridge that, then what I'm gonna do is go this way and level out and then just fill in the middle. Kind of like when I was talking about them religions and doing them corners. So I did all the corners first. When you put puzzles together, do the corners first. Hint, hint, hint. So that's what we're doing. So just wanted to give you guys a quick little illustration of what we're doing and why. So now we'll fit that piece in, then we'll fit this in, and then we'll go back to the edges and then go this way. And then we'll finish in the little spots. Mm-hmm. So that's what we're doing. Hey everybody.
Hey everybody.
So we're getting done for today.
Yes.
It's just been a job.
Yes, it has.
I'm gonna say one thing. Anybody who lay stone, not lay block, but lay stone, if you lay block, you a bad mofo.
Right.
But if you lay stone, you better have a wallet that say bad motherfucker on it. Because laying the stone ain't no joke.
It
I'm
is
tell you.
not.
It's heavy, it's awkward, you're always bent over. I could definitely say us making sure we keep ourselves, doing some kind of, physical activity, working out helps.
Yeah, it does.
Being on your knees all day, being bent over, your lower back.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know we said this message to you guys before, but if you're going to start this,
be in shape.
get yourself ready.
Yeah.
Get yourself doing something.
That's right.
You ain't got to be Superman, but just do something.
Yeah.
My wife had to shovel all this mud, as you see.
Yeah.
So,
it was heavy.
So we're just about there.
Just about.
We're just about there. So We just wanted to give you this tidbit
Yeah.
and let you see where we're at. We're about I did all this today. I'll be done tomorrow. Boom, 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 tap, tap, tap. No. We probably got about 3, 4 more days.
Man, for Richard, we got a week.
Yeah.
Altogether, we got about a week.
Yeah, because we got to ground it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, and this is just a little 2 cents for you guys. If you're gonna get a pallet of Flagstone to lay an area. So what we did was we measured our deck, which is what, 16 by 20.
16 by 20.
Yeah. So it's 16 by 20, and we thought we got enough Flagstone here, but this is what we have left. No, this is what we have left in our pieces of Flagstone, and we still got.
So we probably got enough to finish this side.
Yeah.
And we're going to be short that section.
Right. So the problem is that we bought this Flagstone 3 years ago. And it's not a common color. It's like an eggplant color.
Yeah, this is a hard color to find.
So we're hoping we can go back to where we purchased it from and find it. If not, we're going to have to be creative. So for those of you that are planning on doing an area, keep in mind that even though you may know your square footage, the Flagstone is not all the same size pieces. So it's hard to calculate exactly how much you're going to need.
Yeah.
And
And
that's what
make
we
sure the
learned.
person you're buying it from, the place you're buying it from, comprehends that they should be giving you more slightly than what your actual square footage is, because you got to account for the joints. I've watched some people on YouTube and they make their joints real fat. I don't want my joints real fat, and I didn't want to do a lot of cutting, so I wanted my stone to look real natural. So if you're gonna cut the stone, hell, just buy tile. So
Right.
so we tried real hard not to do much cutting. But other than that, you'll see the finished project when we're done.
It's going to be beautiful when it's done.
Oh, it's gonna be fresh.
For sure.
It's gonna be fresh. Peace.
Peace.
Okay. So, for those of you who caught the video for the meditation station, if you haven't caught the video for the meditation station, you might want to go back and rewatch that video. You can see where we put the yin and yang sign in front of it. So, what I'm doing now is this is a piece of granite that I'm putting up here on this deck. For those of you who know, and you know you're more, then you know what this symbol is, what this flag is, what that star means. There's some of you out here who know, and some of you who don't know. Those of you who don't know, I'm going to talk about this, I'm sure. Probably this is going to be before the video, so I'm going to probably have other talk about this. So it's redundant. So you see we're going to make this after the video. But I'm putting this granite in the middle of my star. So right now I just cut it just to see if it's going to fit. And I just want to make sure that it's going to fit okay. And it's going to fit. I might have to do a little grinding. But whatever grinding I'm going to do on these stones here. And I'll grind them when I get ready to put this in there. So that's what this stone is for. So Well, I mean, you who know, if you don't know, now you know. Peace.